Hey bye, Thomas here, and today's the first day I've actually turned my sawmill on. Today's Friday, and Hurricane Ida hit 6 days ago, so it's been very busy. We've made 2 trips down to the southern parts of Louisiana that got hit really hard: Houma, Thibodaux, Raceland, Lockport, all those folks down there. And I will say, we did 2 trips down there, and we had people donate a lot of stuff, and it was awesome. The outreach from our command was very good. We delivered like 167 gallons of gas, 200 plus gallons of water, 7 propane tanks, 2 generators, 4 ACs, candles, bug spray, all sorts of stuff, paper towels, wet wipes. And the people that we brought it to down there, we had a lot of people from our command as well as some people from the local communities down there, because I mean, again, it's hit hard down there. I will do a big shout out for all the linemen down there. It's very impressive what they have done thus far. When I first went down there, there was 200 or so lines that we drove over. I mean, lines were down everywhere. And just 2 short days from then, we went down there and I only drove over maybe like 10 sets of power lines. So it's pretty impressive. Now there's a lot of, devastation down there still. However, it's getting better. And I know people are always anxious to get their power. They're like, what are they doing? What are they doing? They are working, folks. There are hundreds and hundreds of crews down there working, and they are working hard to try to get your power restored. So a big shout out to them. Every year they do this on the Gulf Coast, and they get linemen from all over the United States. I mean, that is a really cool organization. The linemen down there and everything, they do some really amazing things, stepping up for these natural disasters and doing all that. Also, you got all these cleanup crews down there working really hard. And again, we saw throughout the locations down there a lot of firehouses for the fire department and everything, churches and stuff like that. They had drop points for donations. They had pickup locations for food supplies and stuff like that. The biggest thing down there, though, is still people are needing a lot of fuel. Fuel is going to be a big thing as they wait to get power back so they run their generators and whatnot. There's a lot of impoverished communities down there that hit really hard. But I just want to say a big shout out to those folks going down there and doing good things and volunteering their time, because it is hot down there. It was really hot the past 2 times we were down there. It just, it was amazing to see. Even I was talking to people, they were amazed at how many people have stopped by and said, do you need anything? Do you need water? Do you need food? What do you need? And they're helping people out. The community is really getting together, and also other communities are sending down help. So that's really awesome. But let's go ahead and get to what I'm doing here today. So right now, as you can see, I've got the mill loaded up with an oak log right now. This is a water oak log. It's around 12 foot, I believe. And this is gonna be for my kids' wall. A while back, we actually had a faucet inside the wall that started leaking. Well, long story short, I had to cut through the drywall and then fix the leaking faucet and go from there. And I didn't really put drywall back. I'm like, you know what? The boys' room, we went ahead and painted the walls like a greenish color. We put down LVP, luxury vinyl plank flooring, or LVP, there we go. And then now we're gonna go ahead and do a wood accent wall. And I'm gonna mix up the different species of wood. I think I'm gonna do 1x5s. I like that width. It's not too wide, it's not too small, and it resists cupping. So the goal on this is to cut as many 1x5s as I can at the full length. And I'll throw some of these out in the sun. I'll throw some of these inside of a building. I want to have differing colors and aging on these. And then we will also get some other species of wood and just make a unique wood wall in their room. Something that the boys can't hurt. You'd be surprised what 2 young boys can do to some drywall. Got some patches I gotta do. So, without further ado, I'm gonna go and throw in a little time lapse here. We'll get this log squared up. We'll see what we can get out of it. And really, I might just, if I can't get 5 by, whatever I can, once I square this up, I'll see if I just cut it in half. Maybe I'll get, 4.5, or maybe it'll be 5.5. I don't really care on the width. I just want to make sure I'm maximizing the actual wood that I have here. So stay tuned, we'll go and throw that on there and we'll see what we get. Okay folks, cutting's been going well, except for my last cut. And it's hard to see. I'm gonna show you some telltale signs here that you may have a blade that's dulling on you. So you can see right here, I've got a little bit of darkening right here, and right here after this, you can see I have some raised lines, and also some bluing here as well. So what happened was my blade actually dove, so it went down, and then it was climbing up. And when it climbs up, it's very indicative. You'll get like a kind of a bow mark, and you'll see the blade will rise a little bit higher in the center than on the sides. Now, of course, the orientation of this was in this direction, and it's actually really hard to see this. I could hear the saw struggling a little bit, and that's because I got a dull blade. And this is a good indication that you should probably change out a blade. And again, you see raised lines here, so the blade did some chattering, dove down, and it kind of smoothed out there and then rose back up to get back on track where it should be. But in doing so, it again left some more raised marks right here. Now, to show you how minute this is, let's see if I can show. You can see right there, kind of in the middle of the screen, it's not much of a dip. We're talking about less than 1/8 of an inch. It's not much, folks. But it's right here, and it's right here leading into a knot. And it's a hard spot. I mean, that is really hard right there, but you know, that does happen. I don't actually know how many board foot I have on this blade here. I know I've cut some elm, I've cut some black walnut, and something else. I've cut a couple logs of this blade, but it still feels sharp, and visually looking at it, the set is still there. So I'm like, well, let me just see if I can cut up this oak log. Now that's 4 cuts. You can see my 4 off cuts right here and everything. 4 cuts at a length of, this is over 12 foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 12, 13. This might be 13.5 foot long. And it's a pretty wide cut. If I'm not mistaken, this is 15.5 inches this way. And I forgot what it is on top here. Maybe 12 inches or something like that. So it's a decent sized can, but we're going to go ahead and change out the blade because we had a blade dip on us. And then also looking at this again, we're going to be making this into 1x5 or something close to that dimension. This is going to be for my boys' bedroom wall. We're going to do a cool oak and probably some other type of wood. I haven't figured out what other type of wood I'm going to use. Something with contrasting colors, but not too far out there. Anyways, we're going to make this water oak really shine. Now on this side of the log, as you can see, we have a check. And this check I was hoping would not have gone this far. It goes in further than I want. It goes in actually a couple feet. So my next cut, once I change the blade, I'm going to dip down probably about 2 inches down because I can still make maybe some shelving or something out of that beam there on top. And in fact, I need to make some stuff for my dad. So maybe I'll cut something out of that and still manage to cut above and below this check section here and still utilize the wood that is there. So I'm gonna go and change out the blade. I'm not gonna, people have seen me change out blades before. We're not gonna show that. I'll change out the blade and we'll get back to cutting. Well, I may be done for cutting today because Katie over there, who decided to give herself purple tattoos with the marker, is playing in the sawdust, and I think that's a good time. I'm gonna go ahead and stop for today cutting on this. I've already changed out the blade. We're gonna go and wait till tomorrow to finish this up. So stay tuned. All right, folks, next morning, we are nice and cool this morning, which is really nice. I've gone ahead and I put the computer on a 5-inch scale. So I think I'm cutting at 10 1/8 of an inch right now. We'll go ahead and make this cut, take this top, well actually I'm not gonna take the top piece off yet. We'll make this cut, then I'll auto saw down again, and I'll have 2 essentially 5-inch wide cans. And I'll take that top one off, and we'll turn the 2 that are currently on there, and we'll slab them down at 1-inch increments, and we'll see what we get. I think this is gonna turn out well. The deep cut I'm doing right now will get rid of that check I have on the other side. log itself has a slight cant to it. I say cant, it's got a crook to it. It's got a little bit of a bow. It's not too bad. This one right here, I could probably turn into benches or something. Very, very heavy benches. So during that cut, I'm sure you could see how it kind of opened up everything. I was trying to get close to hitting the pith on that one. Came close. We're gonna go ahead and turn the log now. And we'll see what we get out of here. I slightly adjusted it on the other side. It was slightly under 5 inches. It was 4 15/16. I bumped it up to 5 1/16. It's actually flashing between 5 and 5 1/16. We can go ahead and turn these. Again, I'm not too concerned about them being exactly perfect because I gotta dry them and I gotta plane them, and we'll do some touch-up work, but these are gonna be wall boards for my boys' room, so it'll be all right. We're gonna turn this, and then I'll throw in a time lapse. We'll show the turning of this, and then we'll see how many boards we get out of this. Stay tuned. All right, folks, there you have it. We have 18 5-inch wide, 1-inch thick boards. And these are gonna be perfect because actually I just ran the number. This is gonna be 90 inches high. And then the full length is the full length of the wall plus a little bit extra. So long story short, if every one of these boards is clean, I could theoretically finish the entire wall with just this one log. And I've got to see if my wife wants to mix in any other type of wood species with this. So we'll take a look. But also in the beginning, you saw me turn this log, and it's a trick I do sometimes. So you got a pith, the pith side on this side and on this side, and I turned them where they are opposing each other, if you will, and it helps to keep the boards a little more stable. That way, while I'm cutting, they won't all fall off to one side, and what it is actually just opened up more here in the middle. So it's a little trick I do. Also, another reason why I did that is because on one of the cant sections right here, it did have a little bit of that check still that I wanted to get rid of, and it had a little bit of the wane on the log, so that rounded edge. By doing this, that first cut, when I had to get on scale and everything, actually came out to be about 1.5 inches or so thick, so I removed some more material, and it just left me with cleaner boards. Now these boards here, I don't have the water to show it right now, but these are gonna be, a lot of these are gonna be quarter sawn, which will be really, really pretty. It gives you just a little idea. I think these are gonna be pretty. I'm gonna throw these out and quick bake these in the sun for a few days, and then we will brush them off and everything and see if we can get them, because I want them to shrink as fast as possible. So I'm gonna quickly use them in the sun there, so dry them in the sun. And I haven't figured out, because there's a couple things I've thought about doing. Well, I thought about doing like a little knee wall out of one species, and then a horizontal wall out of another species, the knee wall being a vertical stuff with like a board and batten. Haven't figured it out yet, more to come. I just want to make sure I have enough 1x stock. And like I said, I do have enough here. I could do the whole wall with this. So still not sure, but I think it's gonna be pretty nonetheless. The boys will definitely be looking forward to it. So stay tuned, and some other later episode I'll show what this kind of looks like. I just ate a love bug, sorry. What we'll do is I'll actually show how I'm going to quick dry these. I'll throw these out there, and I'll show you a little bit more at the end of this video, so stay tuned. So unfortunately, as soon as I put these over here, this happens sometimes when you have a knot or something like that. I put these boards on there, and 2 pieces fell off. I mean, it's still, I'll be able to use these for some other projects probably, but these will not make good candidates for my walls. But what I was going to show you is that you can see There is a sawdust side of wood, and there's a side that's not as bad. And when I'm doing this quick dry method, I'll put the sawdust side, the side that has a ton of sawdust on it, in the upward direction. Oh, here's another one. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to use this one or not. I'll take this one out. The one next to it should be okay. And that's kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes. You never know, folks, what you're going to have in a log until you open it up. So that side there doesn't have too much sawdust. That side does. I'm going to leave that side up, facing where the sunlight will get to it. Same thing with this piece right here. And all I'm going to do is just kind of look at what side's what, space them out here, and then we'll get the sun to quick dry these real quick before we even sweep them. I can try sweeping them, but it's really just more of a pain. So let me go and space these out, and I'll show you what we have here at the end. So there you have it. We have all these 1x5 boards spaced out. We'll let the sun kind of cook these for about half a day on this side. I'll sweep them, then about midday, turn them over, do the same thing. That's a quick dry. Then once they're, I might let it do that for about 2 days, and then we'll go ahead and sticker and stack these back in the barn where I get airflow off of this field blowing into my barn. It'll be hot air blowing into the barn, and I can have these dried to where they won't really move. There won't be any noticeable movement and everything after about 2 months or so. And then we can go ahead and start to plane them. We'll check some moisture content. We'll probably be in the 14% range, and then go from there. Because down here in the summer, the humidity actually helps us a little bit. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't allow the wood to dry too terribly fast if you keep it in a place where the sun doesn't hit it. Now I'm hitting it pretty hard real quick with the sun right here, and it will dry quick, but I just want to get that initial outside moisture off just so I can get the sawdust off, and then we'll put it in that barn. And in that barn, again, it'll dry. I might have a little bit checking on the ends, but not too terribly bad. And then once I get everything, again, planed and everything, then I'll take it inside and acclimate to the house for probably about a month. And, you know, in a few months, so what, 3-4 months, I'll be able to have these boards up, which would be right on time. It'll be the winter time, so we'll actually have some drier air in the house, so it'll actually work out. So we'll see. Stay tuned, and maybe a few months down the road, I'll show some pictures of what this looks like. All right, we'll see you around. Thanks.